In the forests of the Great Lakes prowls a mysterious, prehistoric carnivore, a ferocious hunter, and a rare survivor from the last ice age, the Wolverine. Famous in Hollywood movies for its fierceness, it's both a scavenger and a powerful predator. But it's also vulnerable. 12,000 years ago, as the glacier that formed the Great Lakes melted, the first people arrived from Siberia, hungry for food and pelts, and the continent's Ice Age mammals began to disappear. While most of North America's large mammals went extinct, Wolverines clung on through this devastating period of change. But over the last few decades, they've been exterminated from nearly all of eastern North America. Dr. Matt Scrafford is a Wolverine biologist with the Wildlife Conservation Society Canada. Matt's dedicated his life to helping Wolverines. He admires the resilience of these ancient survivors.
I think Wolverine researchers have to be tenacious, just kind of like Wolverines, I guess, in some respects. Just because they are extremely low density, they live in very wild, inhospitable environments. So in order to find them, you really have to be stubborn. They're pretty reclusive.
For Matt to study them, first he needs to catch them. Wolverines cover vast distances, up to 40 kilometers in a day. So Matt needs to have the endurance of a Wolverine. He and his team have set up a network of live traps. Any Wolverines he catches will be fitted with tracking collars. The traps are miniature log cabins.
They actually work surprisingly well.
They've got to be strong enough to contain a Wolverine, but with a sophisticated triggering mechanism to try to outwit an animal famous among trappers for its intelligence.
The Wolverines will try to push their way out. We set all these live traps throughout the landscape, and we try to set them on places that are fairly good Wolverine habitat, so you have a high chance of detecting the Wolverines. So you bait these traps with beavers mostly because they have very oily meat that doesn't freeze in the winter and is very calorie rich for the Wolverines. On these live traps are these little trap transmitters, and when the Wolverine's moving around on the landscape and it smells that beaver, it hops into the trap, pulls on the beaver, and when it does that, the trap door falls down and the transmitter on the trap sends a signal to us. We sometimes have to travel very, very far in order to get out to these traps. Wolverines have a tendency to go into the traps at night. So oftentimes when everybody else is settling in for the evening, we find out that a trap's sprung and have to go out in some very cold, dark evenings in order to get out to these traps to see what's in it.
Today, Matt's long journey to the traps gives him what he's been searching for: a female Wolverine. Around here, males outnumber females 3 to 1. So finding a female is exciting. And what's more, Matt sees that she's a mother, a sign of hope for the local Wolverine population.
I think Wolverines have a lot of challenges. You have an expanding human population, and Wolverines, they can survive in areas with some human development for sure, but when there's a lot of people, it introduces a lot of sources of mortality for Wolverines. Before European settlement, they were found throughout almost the entirety of the Great Lakes region, but with post-European settlement, their range receded further and further north, to a point where in the 1970s, you only found them in the far northern corners of the province. Some of the work that we've done has shown that they've slowly been coming back, so they've been moving from the northwest section of Ontario into central, and now moving further and further south into southern Ontario.
Because of Matt's work with Wolverines, there is now hope that this mother will help to repopulate eastern North America and reclaim her forest home.